I've once again woken up inside someone else's story. Once again, in someone else's skin. And this time, I've transmigrated straight into the male protagonist of one of those old, tragic melodramas. The day I arrive, the stage is already set. Papers are spread neatly across the desk at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Divorce papers. Today is the day the male lead and the female lead are supposed to end everything. She sits beside me, Willow. My wife, at least for a few more minutes. Her beauty is undeniable, but her face is drained of color, pale as paper, her body stiff like she's holding herself together with sheer willpower. The original story says I destroyed her. 3 years of marriage where George, the man whose body I now occupy, neglected her, humiliated her, misunderstood her, even caused her miscarriage. He loved her, yes, but in the most toxic way imaginable. Possessive. Blind. Obsessive. The kind of man who drags someone down with him in the name of love. And what's his ending? Bankruptcy. Broken legs. On his knees, begging for forgiveness that never comes. A tragic arc that spirals down and down until there's nothing left but ruin. But here's the thing, I'm not George. And then something strange happens. Just as I'm about to put pen to paper, lines of text float across my vision, flickering like neon. Bullet comments. High energy ahead. Tragic plot incoming. Ha ha ha. Here it comes, he'll refuse to sign, then grovel. Dog George, wake up. Willow suffered for you. Don't you dare sign. I stare at them for a moment, then laugh under my breath. They think I'll follow the script. They think I'll suffer for choices that were never mine. Why would I? Why would I play along when freedom is right here in front of me? The staff pushes the document toward me, finger tapping the blank space for my name. Willow doesn't look at me, her head is bowed, her pen scratching across her own copy with sharp, decisive strokes, as though the act of signing is her escape route. I pick up the pen. The comments are still exploding. No way he's really signing. He's faking it. Any second now he'll rip it up. Get ready, here comes the twist. But my hand doesn't hesitate. The nib glides across the paper, smooth and certain. In seconds, I've written the name George. Clear. Steady. Done. I set the pen down, push the document forward, and say lightly, all done. The room falls into silence. Even the staff falter, exchanging bewildered looks. Surely they've never seen a divorce from the infamous, obsessive CEO go this smoothly. Willow finishes her part, her hand firm, her signature fast, as though cutting a final tie. She finally lifts her head, her hollow eyes meeting mine. But now, mixed with the emptiness, there's something else, shock. Disbelief. And right on cue, the bullet comments explode. What the? He signed it. He really signed it. This isn't the script. Where's the scene where he tears it up? Refund. Refund. The staff complete the process quickly, as though afraid this fragile miracle might snap if they linger. 2 little red booklets slide across the desk, divorce certificates. One for her. One for me. That's it. It's done. I stand, stretching casually. Beside me, Willow stares down at the booklet in her hand as if it's a brand, too hot to touch, yet impossible to drop. I don't look at her again. My steps are brisk, almost eager, carrying me out of that suffocating office. Behind me, the barrage of comments scrolls in chaos. He just walked away. Not even a glance back. George. Come back. Neil. Regret. Wait, this is too easy. Where's my tragedy? But I don't turn around. Outside, the sunlight nearly blinds me. The city's traffic roars, alive and chaotic, but the air feels new, fresh, like I can finally breathe again. For the first time since waking up here, the heaviness in my chest is gone. The sleek, black car pulls up to the curb. My driver steps out, opens the door. I slide into the back seat, the leather soft against my back. Back to the company, sir, he asks. I hum in response, leaning back with my eyes closed, letting the movement of the car blur the world outside. The Civil Affairs Bureau, Willow, the suffocating script of tragedy, they're all behind me now. But then, my phone buzzes. I glance down. The screen lights up. The name flashing across it, Maria. Maria. The black-hearted lotus of this story. The one who framed Willow, twisting lies into daggers until the original George turned cruel, until Willow miscarried, until tragedy became inevitable. She wasn't just a side character, she was the spark that lit the fuse. So when her name flashed across my phone screen, the bullet comments practically erupted. "IT's here. The mistress's phone call. She's calling to comfort him, watch, he'll run to her arms. Scumbag man, cheap woman. Lock them both up and leave Willow alone." But me. I felt nothing but disgust. My thumb pressed down. Click. Hung up. And then another press. Drag. Drop. Blacklisted. The silence afterward was almost blissful, like the world itself had exhaled. The bullet comments lost their minds. He hung up. Even blacklisted her, what the hell? This isn't the script. George, wake up. Wait, does he know? Does he know Maria framed Willow? Too late, scumbag. The driver's eyes flicked to me in the rearview mirror, uncertain. President Wang, it was Miss Maria. My voice was low, but cold enough to frost glass. Don't ever mention her name again. He shut up instantly. Yes, President Wang. The phone rang again, this time, my assistant. I answered. President Wang, have you completed the procedure? His tone was cautious, as though testing the waters. I'm divorced, I replied flatly. Should we arrange compensation for Miss Liu? Not a cent. As per the premarital agreement. I cut him off without hesitation. Willow had signed it, and now she was walking away with nothing. Why? Because Maria's poison had convinced the old George that Willow carried another man's child because he'd forced her to miscarry, then cast her out like trash. My voice stayed sharp, each word a blade. Pack her things. Throw them out of the Wang family. Don't send them to the wrong place. And remember, take back the keys. There was a pause, a hitch in the assistant's breathing. Understood, President Wang. But, how should we explain this to Chairman Wang? His always valued Miss Liu. Chairman Wang. My so-called father. The one who, in the story, would later cast his son aside, disgusted by the mess George had made. I'll handle him myself, I said. Then leaned back, already giving the next order. Now go back to the company. Gather every department head. Meeting in 1 hour. I want the latest financials, project progress, everything. And listen, if the meeting room isn't full in 30 minutes, tell them to hand in their resignation letters. Yes, President Wang. His voice was tight before the call cut out. The bullet comments surged like a storm. This isn't just a divorce. This is a clean break, cutting everything off at the root. Cold-blooded. Too cold-blooded. 3 years of her youth, fed to the dog. Maria blocked, Willow thrown out, and now straight back to work. What kind of arc is this? I ignored them. By the time I arrived at the company, Maria was already waiting. The moment I opened the office door, she lunged toward me, perfume thick in the air. Her eyes were red, her voice sticky with fake sweetness. George, why did you block me? What did I do wrong? I stepped aside. She nearly stumbled. George, her voice trembled with grievance, as though she were the victim. I walked past her, sat behind my desk, and met her gaze with nothing but ice. Who let you in? I heard from your assistant you got divorced. I was worried about you, get out. She froze. What? Now. Get out of my office. My hand pointed sharply at the door. Don't step foot in here again. Her face drained of color, then flushed red. George, why are you, security? The intercom clicked as I pressed it. The bullet comments went wild. Damn, ruthless. Look at Maria's face turning green, this is gold. That slap was loud and clear, oh my God. Has George gone insane? Or did someone replace him? The guards rushed in. I didn't even lift my head from the documents on my desk as I gave the order. Escort Miss Maria out. From this moment on, she is not allowed inside this company without my permission. Yes, sir. George. You bastard. I'll never forgive you, she shrieked as the guards half-dragged her out. Her voice cracked, echoing through the hallway before fading into silence. The office grew still again. The bullet comments trickled in like static. He actually kicked her out. The goddess just got demoted to an extra. The plot's broken. Completely broken. Is this George turning over a new leaf, or has he just changed brains? I tuned them out. The butler's call came next. My father wanted me home. And so, I returned to the Wang family estate. The atmosphere was heavy the moment I stepped inside. My father sat rigid on the sofa, his face dark with anger. But what caught me off guard was her. Willow. She stood in the center of the room, a half-packed suitcase open at her feet. Piece by piece, she folded her clothes with mechanical calm. When my footsteps sounded across the polished floor, she hesitated, her hands pausing mid-fold. But she didn't turn. She kept packing. My father's palm slammed against the armrest, the crack loud in the still room. His glare burned holes through me. You worthless fool. You'd better have an explanation. Dad, I said evenly, you saw the papers. It's finished. She'll leave when she's done packing. Leave. His body surged upright, his anger sharp enough to slice through the air. Who told her to leave? He strode across the room, straight to Willow's side, and shoved the suitcase shut with his palm. Willow. Put that down. If anyone is leaving this house, it's not you. Her hand froze above the lid. And then my father turned, his finger stabbing toward me, nearly touching my face. His voice was thunder. You should be the one leaving. George, I don't have a son like you. Heartless. Blind. Completely clueless. The old man's voice cracked through the air like a whip. And instantly, the bullet comments went wild. Wow, the old man's powerful. Dog George must be scared out of his mind. He's going to kneel, he has to kneel, cry, beg for mercy, scumbag, this is it. But instead of cowering, my father turned to Willow, his tone softening, almost pleading. Willow, don't leave. George has changed. I heard he blocked Maria, refused to let her into the company. He did it for you. Because he still loves you. His chest rose and fell heavily, every word dragged out as though forcing sense into a senseless situation. Willow's eyes flickered, wide with surprise. To her, George blocking Maria must have felt like the sun rising in the west, unbelievable. She looked at me, searching for a sign that this was true, that maybe there was something worth salvaging. I stayed silent. My father's patience snapped. His glare cut into me. George, listen to me. If you dare go through with this divorce, get the hell out of this house. The Wang family has no son like you. Willow is good, too good, and you torment her like this. Without her, you're nothing. His eyes blazed, waiting for me to flinch, to collapse, to fall into the old script, kneel, beg, sob, repent. I looked at him. Then at Willow. Her lips were pressed tight, her body still as stone. The air was stretched thin, like a string pulled to breaking point. And I nodded. My voice steady, calm. Okay. Silence. The old man froze, mouth hanging open. Willow's eyes widened slightly, surprise flashing across her face before vanishing as quickly as it came, leaving only astonishment, maybe even curiosity. The bullet comments fell quiet for half a second, then burst into chaos. What did he just say? Okay. He actually agreed. Wait, did someone swap the script? The old man told him to leave, and he just said okay? George is insane. He's lost it. Even Willow looks stunned. Holy, this is a full plot collapse. He doesn't even want his inheritance. My father's face burned red, speechless, his anger boiling into disbelief. Willow's eyes stayed on me, locked, searching. But I didn't linger. I turned, climbed the stairs, began to pack. And with every folded shirt, every closed drawer, the taste of freedom spread richer in my chest. God, it was intoxicating. The comments still screamed in the background. He doesn't want the assets. The inheritance. All this just for a divorce, scum to the core. 3 years of suffering and this is how it ends. This book is ruined. Refund. And then, Willow's voice cut through. Calm. Firm. George. It should be me leaving. But before I go, I want you to know the child I lost was yours. Not Makoto's. I never betrayed you. And I won't fall for your little tricks, your fake pursuit. Don't worry, I won't see you again. Her words were meant to sting, to slice through any false hope. I only raised a hand, shielding my eyes from the light as a smile tugged at my lips. That's perfect. I'll send you as far away as you like. Your words are exactly what I wanted to hear. There's a company banquet tonight. Don't come. Don't let me see you there. Her brows furrowed, anger sparking in her eyes. I lowered my gaze, fingers brushing over each other, my voice turning low. If you don't come, Makoto won't come either. I won't let Maria show her face. Everything will stay calm. Just don't show up. She froze, confusion flickering in her eyes. She didn't know what I knew. She hadn't read the script. Because in the original story, tonight was the powder keg. At the banquet, George would see Willow and Makoto together, his anger would ignite, and he'd kiss Maria in front of everyone. A scandal, a fight, humiliation. It would end with the old man stripping him of his inheritance, driving him out in disgrace, and setting the stage for his spiral into self-destruction. But not this time. This time, if Willow stayed away, there'd be no scene. No drama. No heartbreak. Just a clean break, a quiet exit. Everyone free. And yet, she lifted her head, eyes hard, voice stubborn. I'm going. I blinked. For once, she was out of character. The bullet comments blew up in delight. Rebellion unlocked. About my ex telling me not to go, so of course I'm going. Classic. George versus Makoto, who's winning tonight? Banquet battlefield incoming. Stock up on popcorn. Hei's going to regret it. Just watch. I didn't answer her. Didn't even look. I shook my head and walked away. Back at the company, the meeting room was packed. Every department head in their seat, their faces stiff, spines straight, hands folded nervously over thick stacks of reports. The projector hummed in the corner. The air was tight, heavy. Dozens of eyes followed me as I entered, a silent storm of uncertainty. They all knew by now, President Wang had signed his divorce papers today. His mood must have been circling rock bottom, and every single person in that meeting room was bracing for the storm. The old President Wang was infamous for his tantrums, unskilled, loud, lashing out at the wrong people, always solving problems with money or rage. But when I walked in, I didn't waste words. I slid into the main chair, expression unreadable. Let's begin, I said, flat and steady. Finance went first. The CFO rose quickly, papers trembling in his hand, voice rushing through revenue, costs, cash flow. My mind switched on instantly. Finance was my world before I came here, reports, numbers, margins. I didn't just listen, I dissected. Stop. I cut him off, pointing to the projector. Here. Marketing expenses for Q3, 35% increase year over year. Explain. A bead of sweat slid down his temple. President Wang, it was sponsorships, large events, celebrity endorsements. Which celebrity? Where's the ROI report? Conversion tracking? Anything? My voice wasn't raised, but each question landed like a hammer. You can't produce it. Then it's wasted money. Who approved this budget? You. His face drained of color. It was recommended by Miss Maria and Mr. Liu. Director Willow also said it was feasible. Maria. Willow. Again. I leaned back, eyes sharp. Willow is no longer director. She has nothing to do with this family anymore. And Maria? Who is she? Since when do outsiders make decisions for the Wang family? The silence was absolute. Everyone knew I had always backed Maria before. Their shock hung thick in the air. I didn't let them breathe. This was a failure of financial oversight. The supervisor loses 3 months' bonus. And you, I pinned the CFO with my gaze, no year-end bonus. This is your last chance. If it happens again, you're out. His knees nearly buckled, but he bowed his head, voice shaking. Yes, President Wang. I'll conduct a full investigation and hold everyone accountable. Continue, I said coldly. The project manager scrambled up next, explaining delays on the West City land. I listened carefully, drilling into milestones, approvals, responsibilities. My questions were clean, sharp, without mercy. And slowly, the fear in the room began to change shape. Panic gave way to awe. They realized this wasn't the old Wang who shouted to cover up incompetence. This new Wang was colder, sharper, more terrifying because he was precise. Every word cut straight to the bone. Even the bullet comments shifted. Holy shit, he's actually working. The questions are razor sharp. Is this really the same guy? Divorce didn't break him, it unlocked him. A man focused on his career is kinda scary, kinda hot. Wait, no, forget I said that. The meeting stretched 3 long hours. By the end, they looked like survivors of a war, exhausted, pale, drenched in sweat. But in their eyes, for the first time, there wasn't just fear. There was respect. I stood, voice steady. Meeting adjourned. I want solutions on my desk by noon tomorrow. Concrete names. Concrete timelines. Fail me, and I'll find someone else. Yes, President Wang. The response hit the walls in unison. I didn't return to my office. Instead, I walked straight to my assistant. Find me a new apartment. Downtown. Top security. Privacy guaranteed. I'm moving tonight. Pack up what's useful from the Wang villa, throw out the rest. He hesitated. President Wang, are you not going back to the villa? That's the Wang family's house. Not mine. I don't want to live under that roof anymore. I met his eyes. Understand? He straightened. Understood. One more thing. Change all passwords, locks, security systems. Especially the villa. No one, old man, Willow, Maria, no one steps into my space without permission. Everyone, he asked carefully. Everyone, I said, my tone final. He nodded, already scribbling notes. The bullet comments spun faster. He's cutting ties completely. No villa, no inheritance, what's he planning? Is this really a tragic love story? Why does it feel satisfying? Later, I returned to my office. The floor-to-ceiling windows stretched wide across the skyline, the city bathed in a golden sunset. Dust shimmered in the beams, the world alive below, cars threading through traffic, people moving like waves. I stood there, quiet, watching. The bullet comments still scrolled across my vision. What's he doing at the window? Trying to look deep. He's regretting it. Definitely regretting not chasing Willow. I bet 5 cents he calls her. Classic scumbag move. I smiled faintly, shaking my head. No. Let them think what they want. A bunch of strangers stuck in a scripted tragedy while I was finally learning how to live free. They were all chasing their sense of existence here. One word for it, stupid. I slipped the USB drive into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and dialed a number already memorized. Lawyer Lee, I said evenly. Set up a personal trust fund. Everything outside of Wang Group assets, stocks, investments, move it in. Independent management. Completely separate from the Wang family. I'll be the trustee. For a moment, silence. Then his voice came back, low and serious. Understood, President Wang. I'll handle the legal risks. It'll be ready by 10 tomorrow morning. I ended the call. Outside the window, the last gold of the sunset had already drowned behind the skyline, breaking into a glittering sea of city lights. I stared at it quietly, and for once, the bullet comments froze. A trust. Splitting assets. Is he writing his own will? Walking the path of a lonely man. Does Willow know he's locking everything away? The banquet glowed beneath crystal chandeliers, laughter and chatter filling the air. I leaned against the corner, champagne in hand, eyes scanning the room. And there they were. Willow and Makoto. Standing too close. His smile smug, hers calm, too calm, but she didn't push him away. Across the hall, Maria flitted through the crowd like a butterfly that never landed, playing hostess though no one had asked her to. Every so often, her gaze slid toward me, sharp as a hook. The bullet comments rained down. The full cast is here. The battlefield is set. Makoto looks like a stray cat that just stole a fish. Maria's circling, this snake won't quit. President Wang's just standing in the corner. Do something already. Betting pool's open, how long until he breaks? I'm calling 5 minutes. Right on cue, Makoto spotted me. His smirk widened. He wrapped an arm tighter around Willow's waist and started walking over. She stiffened, tried to step aside, but he didn't let her. They stopped in front of me. Makoto raised his glass, all fake politeness. President Wang, he said smoothly, I heard the news. Congratulations on regaining your freedom. His glance at Willow was deliberate. We're both very happy for you. Willow said nothing. She only pressed her lips together, her gaze tangled with mine, silent, unreadable. The bullet comments flared. Makoto's baiting him, smash his face in. Willow's being dragged along, my heart hurts. George's expression is ice cold. Is he holding back? Maria slipped into the scene then, her timing perfect, voice honeyed and fake. Mr. Ito, Mrs. Liu, maybe you shouldn't provoke George. He's in pain. You, pain? Makoto cut her off with a scoff. More like confused. He's throwing away a woman like Willow. Maria immediately shifted, stepping in front of me as though shielding me with her body. Mr. Ito, please mind your words. George is not someone you can speak to like that. The bullet comments screamed. Here it is, the fake coquette protecting her man, Makoto adding fuel, Maria fanning the flames. Drama perfection. George, tear them apart already. This isn't your style. I looked at the three of them, one provoking, one acting, one silent. It was a circus. And I smiled. Originally, I only wanted to make money, to live clean and free. But since they were so eager to serve up their heads, how could I refuse? I pulled out my phone, tapped a few times. The massive banquet screen flickered. The dull ads vanished. And then a hidden camera feed filled the hall. The angle subtle, but the image sharp, the audio crystal clear. Makoto and Maria. In a private room. The bullet comments stalled for half a second, then detonated. Wait, what? On the big screen? Is that a hidden camera? Energy spike incoming, this wasn't in the original story. On the screen, Makoto poured himself a drink, smiling like a snake. Maria, your move was brilliant. Bribing that doctor, insisting Willow's child was in the early stages, making sure the timing didn't match George's business trip. That idiot actually believed it. Maria giggled, covering her mouth with false sweetness. He deserved it. Always had eyes for that bitch Willow. I wanted him to make her abort her own child, then drive her out. I wanted him to regret it for the rest of his life. Makoto clinked glasses with her, pleased. And you did well too. Inviting Willow that night, it was flawless. Once George loses her, offends his father, the Wang family falls apart. Then Willow will have nowhere to go, and she'll come crawling back to me. Maria's smile turned sharp, her voice dripping venom. And George? He rejected me once. When he has nothing left, when he crawls back begging, let's see how I deal with him then. The video kept rolling. And the banquet hall went silent. Every head turned toward the giant screen, eyes wide, breath caught. They were stunned into silence. Makoto's smirk shattered, draining from his face until only terror remained. He looked at me as if I'd risen from the grave. Maria's act, the trembling lips, the pitiful sobbing, collapsed in an instant. Her body shook, her eyes went glassy, her voice breaking into nonsense pleas as she stumbled forward, desperate to shut off the screen. But I only gave her one cold look. And that was enough to freeze her in place. The real blow landed on Willow. Her wine glass slipped from her hand and exploded against the floor, red liquid bleeding across her white skirt like fresh wounds. But she didn't move. Didn't even flinch. Her wide, trembling eyes locked on the screen, first disbelief, then hollow emptiness, and finally, a fire rising, slow and merciless. Her gaze turned. First to Makoto, ashen, trembling, a coward caught in the light. Then to Maria, her face twisted in despair, crumbling under the weight of her own lies. Willow's lips quivered, but no sound came out. The live comments on the feed went berserk. A nuclear bomb. A plot twist no one saw coming. Betrayal, humiliation, vengeance, every word lit up like sparks in a wildfire. And then, silence. The video ended. The screen went black. I set down my untouched champagne and turned to Willow. Her face was ghost pale, her eyes vacant, her soul all but drained. My voice cut through the silence, low but piercing, carrying across the hall. "Did you see it clearly?" I asked. "Your friend. The man you almost gave your life to. The so-called good man you trusted. The child." I paused, my smile sharp, merciless. "The child was mine. You never wronged me." "They did." I pointed straight at Makoto and Maria, both pale as corpses. "And you," my voice hardened, landing on Willow, "you're guilty too. Not for betrayal, but for silence. For swallowing pain, pretending, sulking in your own pride instead of telling me the truth." I didn't wait for her reply. Didn't look back. I walked out through the frozen crowd, through the suffocating gold of the banquet hall, into the night air that hit me like freedom itself. Behind me came the chaos, Makoto's screams, Maria's shrill wails, Willow's broken sobs. But I kept walking, the taste of freedom burning with something stronger, truth. The comments rolled on like a storm. From villain to God. From ruin to resurrection. One man against them all. By the next day, the papers were signed, the assets stripped away, my path already cut. Then my phone rang. My father. "George, come home. I know about last night. Willow's here. Whether you reconcile is up to you. But come home, clear things up. We're still family." His words hung heavy. The comments exploded with hope, with pleas for reunion. But I only asked, quietly, "Which home? The Wang estate? The one you threw me out of yesterday? Or the one you already stripped from me?" The line fell silent. I didn't stop. "Yesterday, for a daughter-in-law you'd only known a few years, you called me blind. Heartless. Told me I had no place in this family. Now, because her child is gone, and the truth isn't what you thought, suddenly I'm your son again?" My words hit like knives, slow, deliberate, undeniable. The comments erupted again. The old man's breathing grew ragged, his voice breaking with anger. "You ungrateful son. I'm your father." "Yes," I said evenly. "And that's exactly what makes it so fascinating. A father, so quick to protect a daughter-in-law you've only known a handful of years. A father who didn't hesitate to cut ties with his own blood, to throw me out of the house without even asking for the truth. You believed what you wanted to believe and you called it justice. That kind of bias is truly touching." I let the words linger, sharp and merciless. "But now, with the truth exposed, you expect to sweep it all away with excuses." I was angry. Blood is blood. "Dad, water that's been spilled can't be gathered back. The moment you pushed me away, I was no longer part of the Wang family. You can take Willow as your daughter, or your daughter-in-law, that's your choice. But don't drag me back into it. I'm fine as I am." The livestream comments roared with approval, praising the clarity, the refusal to bow, the iron will. On the line, silence. Just the sound of his heavy breathing. Then, another voice. It was Willow. Her voice was hoarse, strained, but steady. "George, can we talk? Alone." The feed went wild, pleas for reconciliation, countdowns to forgiveness. I laughed softly, though there was no warmth in it. "Talk? About what? How miserable I've been for 3 years. How it feels to finally be declared innocent. Or should we talk about cherishing each other and repairing what's broken?" My tone hardened. "Save it, Willow. Yesterday, I signed the papers at the Civil Affairs Bureau. And so did you. Yesterday, my father kicked me out. And you said nothing. I let the truth cut where it needed to. In your heart, I'm still the blind, heartless George who killed your child and tormented you for 3 years. And you're right, in those years, the man who wore this face, who bore my name, he did abuse you. So I've taken that debt. I signed the divorce papers. I left the Wang family. I paid what I owed. We're even." My voice softened, but only with finality. "So now that the truth has come out, do you feel guilt? Pity? Shame? Keep it. You don't owe me anything. The one who deserves your apology, the real George, the man who loved you and lost everything because of lies, is already gone. Forced to death by both of you. I paused, the silence on the other end suffocating. The man I am now doesn't hate you. But I don't owe you anything. I don't need your guilt. I don't need your compensation. Like the song says, I'll send you far away. Your apology means nothing to me. So don't talk about it again. I ended it with the only words that fit. Ex-wife. Stay away from scum. Goodbye. No, better yet, never see you again. I hung up. Blocked my father's number. The world fell quiet. Sunlight poured through the window, warm, steady, free. Relief, sharp and final, settled in my chest. The comment feed was chaos, shock, heartbreak, disbelief. Some mourned the broken ending. Others admired the brutal clarity. But the story had moved on, and so had I. Days later, my phone buzzed with headlines. Ito Group stock had collapsed by 90%. Wang Group had crushed their projects, leaving their accounts dry. Makoto was under investigation for fraud and embezzlement. Maria's scandalous photos and recordings were everywhere: extortion, affairs, corruption. Her family was bankrupt. Creditors at the door. Maria herself, diagnosed and hidden away in a sanatorium. The feed called it thunder. Ruthless precision. A perfect strike. And then, knock, knock. I opened the door. Willow stood there. Her face was pale, but her eyes had changed, no longer lost, no longer broken. Behind the fatigue, there was calm. Maybe even resolve. No makeup, no pretense. Just Willow. Can we talk? She asked softly. No reconciliation. Just talk. I stepped aside. Let her in. She stood in the middle of the room, watching me. Her voice was steady now. Makoto's finished. Maria too. And Dad, Chairman Wang, he made his move. I gave him the knife. I know, I said, sipping from a glass of water. She went on. The truth about the miscarriage, it's all out. Maria bribed the doctor and the maid. She faked the pregnancy reports and phone calls. Makoto gave her the money. He set it all up. He's the one who created the affair while you were away on business. The weight of her words hung between us. I set the cup down and looked at her. She began, hesitating, her voice heavy, her eyes clouded with something complicated. For a long moment, she just stared at me. We were fools, her expression seemed to say. I arched an eyebrow, waiting. Finally, she spoke, her lips twisting into a bitter smile. 3 years, we were kept in the dark, tearing each other apart, like puppets tangled on strings. Hating the wrong people, loving the wrong way. The comments on the live stream flew in Willow's awake. Oh no, I feel so sorry for these two fools. Hug her, George. The truth is out, reconcile already. I met her eyes and asked simply, so? She blinked, startled by the word. So, we fools, I cut her off, that's your word, not mine. Her face froze, her breath catching. You think we were just pitiful, deceived, wronged, and now that the truth is out, we cry, we reconcile, we pretend none of it mattered. I stepped closer. She instinctively pulled half a step back. My voice stayed flat, almost cold. The past 3 years were real. The pain was real. The miscarriage was real. The divorce papers we signed, that was real. Your hatred, your desperation to get away from me, real. My decision to walk away, real. None of that disappears just because the truth finally surfaced. Scars don't vanish overnight. Her lips trembled. I didn't let her speak. You said we clearly loved each other. Tell me, 3 years ago, that blind, heartless version of me, who only knew how to hurt, did he truly love you? Loved you in a twisted, self-destructive way, maybe. And you. That Willow who hated me with every breath, who wanted nothing but to escape, did you love me then? I shook my head. No. You hated me. To the core. And George, that George is dead. Dead by both your hands and his own. What's left of me now isn't him. I don't hate you, Willow, but I can't say I love you either. All I've done is fulfill the last duty of an ex-husband, cleaning up the mess he left behind. Now that it's over, we're even." Her face went pale, and I continued, voice steady. "Stop talking about love. It's empty. Stop dwelling on who was a fool, who owed who, it means nothing. Look forward. Live well. You're still the Wang family's daughter-in-law. That title alone will give you a comfortable life. Don't make love the center of your world. Sometimes, love isn't worth as much as a hot meal." The comments exploded. Philosopher George has logged in. "Love is less important than rice, preach. President Wang is about to become a monk. Poor Willow, she's stunned." And stunned she was. She looked at me like I was a stranger, her eyes swimming with confusion, pain, and, strangely, relief. Her voice was a whisper. "So what do you want now?" I smiled faintly. "What do I want? No one bothering me. 3 meals a day. Peace. Freedom." I paused, then added, "and to stay far, far away from all of you troublemakers." The audience erupted again. Ultimate goal, lie flat. President Wang, don't love me, it leads nowhere. The tragic script is ashes, he's turned it into prayer beads. Willow didn't argue. She just stood there, silent for a long time, then gave a small nod. Without another word, she turned and walked away. Clean. Decisive. Willow gave up. "It's fine, let's both be well." Finally, she left. President Wang, thank God. What an ending, not love, not hate, just peace. And so it ended. Not with fireworks, not with forgiveness, but with quiet separation, 2 broken souls finally stepping out of a story that had consumed them. The second time we crossed paths was at a cocktail party. She walked over, a glass of wine in hand, her steps calm and steady. "Long time no see," she said lightly. I lifted my glass in reply. "I hear you're doing well," she added, as casually as if she were commenting on the weather. "Yeah. Not starving," I said, and that was enough. We clinked glasses, exchanged faint smiles, and drifted back into the crowd. The third time, the fourth, every time we met, it was the same. A few words here and there, business trends, market chatter, nothing that mattered. Just 2 people making small talk, like old acquaintances who were never quite friends, or maybe strangers who had known each other too well. The live comments rolled in. "President Wang looks even sharper these days. Finally free, finally shining. Willow has transformed, queen energy. They look so good together. What a pity. What's there to regret? They're both living well." No one mentioned the past. No one spoke of love. Reconciliation never came up. It was wordless, but understood. We had both moved on. Completely. One evening, at yet another banquet, the air was soft with music and warm with laughter. I leaned against the bar, half zoned out, watching the shifting lights of the hall. Willow walked over, this time, without a drink. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Sure," I said. We slipped outside to the terrace. The night breeze was cool, carrying the faint hum of the city. She leaned against the railing, studying me for a long moment, her eyes flickering with thoughts I couldn't read. Then, finally, she smiled, small, almost amused. "George," she said softly. Right now, you really have charm." I raised an eyebrow, caught off guard. "Really?" She nodded. "It's not money," she explained. "It's the way you are now. That air of not caring. Not being tied down. Free, clear-headed, knowing exactly what you want, and what you don't." She turned back toward the skyline, her profile lit against the city lights. "That's attractive." Before, she added almost matter-of-factly, "You didn't have it." I smirked. The idiot back then only knew how to care too much, twisting himself up in the wrong ways. She didn't argue. She just accepted it. I took a sip of soda water and let the moment settle. "Now's better." Better, she agreed. We didn't ask about each other's lives, her work, my family, Wang Group. There was no need. Silence was easier. Silence was enough. The night breeze grew colder. "Go back in?" I asked. "Okay," she said. And just like that, we rejoined the banquet, swallowed up by lights and chatter, like two streams that met for a moment, then split again, each flowing toward its own future. The comments scrolled past the screen. End of story. President Wang is the perfect male lead now. Willow is stunning, long live the queen. Unexpected ending, but perfect. Long live freedom. Goodbye George. Goodbye Willow. Goodbye foolish love. Life went on. The sun was bright, the wind was free. I drove along the coastal highway with no destination, just moving forward. The car window was down, the sea breeze rushing in, cool and salty against my face. The radio played old songs slightly off-key, but I hummed along anyway. The sky above me was wide, clear, endless. For the first time in a long time, it felt perfect. The end.